Alright guys, it's Matt Jack JW, and you're tuned in to the Combat 86 radio show. And figured share some stories with you guys. We'll do some stuff, try to keep this channel a little bit more updated and things like that. But I figured to share something with you that is completely not gun related. That's the beauty of this channel. It gives me the freedom to do anything that basically far as storytelling or filming odds and ends stuff, keeping you folks entertained. A while back, this was really before the gun thing for me took off. I actually, for those of you that know, that don't know, I actually am a really big horror movie fanatic. I got my DVD collection right here. You know, you just got some sticking around here. I got The Exorcist right there. Anyway, I actually was a ghost hunter here on the island with a friend of mine. And he started up the little ghost adventure thing by just being influenced really by those guys on TV. Ghost hunters, ghost adventures, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, Hawaii is actually a very, very active island, regardless if you believe in ghosts or not. I personally, I do. I think there's like that wall of dimensions that maybe we just do not understand. That I think that they're there, and maybe they're sometimes residual, or just they're in this time warp, that maybe we can't exactly see. There's too many ghost stories, ghost sightings, all that kind of stuff to neglect it, or to disbelieve, in my opinion. So anyway, Hawaii has a lot of interesting history with the ghosts. Hawaii has a lot of really bizarre things that's happened, and things that's happened to my dad that is very unexplainable. Things that's happened to me that's unexplainable. And I'm actually going to tell you guys a story that when I was really young, I've never told this to anybody. I staying at my parents' house. I was just, obviously I was a little kid. There was a room that I stayed in, and this is when I began to start sleeping in my own room and all that. The room I had stayed in had a bunk bed, and then had this old dresser and stuff like that, and I had my toys and stuff everywhere. Anyway, in the middle of the night, there was like this, I guess my toy turned itself on, and it was this little thing called Maniac Mouse, and it was a little electronic mouse. It was probably rather big, and it would run around. It would, you turn it on, it would just, go all crazy all over the floor, rip up your parents' hardwood floor. Yeah. And anyway, but this thing turned itself on, and it was going back and forth in the drawer. Boom, 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 boom. Woke me up. Woke up, turned it off, took it out of the drawer, couldn't figure it out, set it on the ground, went back to bed. There was also like this weird creaking things that would happen right at the end of the night, or right at a certain time at the night. I believe it was like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, it would do that. So weird things like that. I remember one time staying in the other room, and I got up in the middle of the night for some reason. I looked over at the window, and I swear there was a face looking at me, and I honestly was so scared I just went back to bed and just, probably pulled the covers over my head and just kind of, but anyway, that kind of stuff has always got me interested. My dad has a story, a few stories. One that they were traveling down south of Kona or Hawaii. We live in a town called Kailua Kona. It's a big island of Hawaii. It's not Oahu or Molokai or Kauai or any all those other. It's the big island. It's Kailua Kona. There's Hilo side, and then there's the south side. The south side is very, very active with stuff. Anyway, my dad was driving in his pickup truck down there, and supposedly they saw this light up ahead on the road, and they didn't really know what it was, so they kept pulling up further and further, and as they got closer, it was a firewall, and it actually took off right over their heads. I mean, they spun right around, went back to the other direction, and got out of there. There's the time where he was staying at his mom's house down at this place called Napapo, and it's down south of Kona, and it's pretty far out there. And she had Nana had, that's what we called her. Nana had a big house, and he said in the middle of the night one night, now he used to collect artifacts and things of the old Hawaiians out here, and probably not a good idea, but anyway, one night he said something grabbed the bed and just started slamming it up and down and woke him up. My dad's a pretty big guy, and he went to turn, but he said when he went to turn to look and see what was at the head of the bed doing this, that what the term is chicken skin. It crawled. I mean, just the feeling just overwhelmed his body. He could not turn. My dad's not really afraid of anything, so he just he couldn't turn and look at this whatever it was. I'm not sure exactly. I think he just went back to bed or just laid there. Anyway, the next morning the closet door was open, and all his belongings were out on the ground, open, and so that very strange happenings there. Now, his I don't want to really put out any personal information because the people, for their privacy sakes, but anyway, a relative, will say, has a house, and it was supposedly active. It was built right next to a cemetery, of all things, and things like the faucet turning on in the middle of the night, pictures coming off the wall and smashing on the ground, mirrors, and just bizarre thing. I've stayed in the house myself. I never experienced anything, and but there was definitely a very eerie feeling in that house for sure. It's just boy, I don't know. It was just always creepy. It creeped me out a lot, and the house is just very freaky. Knowing all those things had happened. They eventually, what they did was they called in what they call out here a kahuna. A kahuna is a Hawaiian priest, and they came in and blessed this house, and they drove whatever it was out, and they haven't had activity since that had happened. So that's the story of that. So anyway, now a friend of mine, of course, years, this was, I don't know, 10 years ago, maybe 7-8 years ago. A friend of mine starts doing this ghost hunting thing out here, and I said, yeah, sure, let's do this. So there's a great handful of us that go, and the rule was when we go out there, nobody goes anywhere alone. We had the EVP meters, which is electronic voice print or whatever they call it. The electrometer, I guess, the magnetic meter and all that, temperature readings and stuff like that. So the first house we did was supposedly this house was built right on a trail that the old Hawaiians would travel. And then also the sand that was used in the foundation in the concrete was taken from a beach out here that I don't remember exactly what beach it is, but there's a lot of those type of stories in Hawaii that there's just things you don't do here. You can actually look up the there's an old saying, if you ever come out here, don't ever take rocks from this place. Don't ever take rocks home. Don't ever ship rocks out, because things happen. You just don't do it. And there's actually a website or somewhere where people have shipped back the rocks that they've taken from here. I mean, no joke. They have shipped back all the rocks. And I've heard stories of like somebody taking a specific rock from a beach or something, and literally, no joke, like all kinds of bizarre things start happening to them. Their face starts swelling up, weird stuff, unexplained stuff, really just unexplainable things. Anyway, so this house that we investigated, the sand was taken from a beach you don't take from, and I mean, this place is doomed from the beginning. I mean, if there ever was one. And then they put something in the foundation. It was an artifact of something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, I mean, this house was doomed three ways to, or 6 ways to Sunday, whatever. Anyway, so the owners have moved out, and they still own it, but they don't want to be there anymore. And they said they had pictures of their kids. The kids would sit in the middle of the floor and talk to like nothing, And so the owner said they took a picture of the kid one day, and they showed us the picture, and there's literally like this like old man like next to the kids, like in this ghostly figure. Really weird. So we show up to this place, and we show up in the afternoon. We get there, we set everything up, figure out, talk to the people, get an understanding of what what's going on, what has happened, all that kind of stuff. And so we set up our cameras, set up our infrareds, all that kind of stuff, and once we set it up, we wait for dark. And we went out and ate dinner at a place called Senor Billy's. I don't think it's around anymore. It's a Mexican restaurant down south there. And we went back and started our investigation. Now, we usually stay all the way through till like 4 or 5 in the morning. We've always understood that the witching hour and all that, whatever you call it, that midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. So we experienced some strange screechings, screamings that were unexplained, temperature readings in the house that was fluctuating. At one point, we were up there, and the batteries in the camera and the flashlights were instantly drained. It was not I couldn't tell you for the life of me what was going on up there. It felt like something had grabbed me through, and now this is through my jacket. I could feel the sensation of really cold, and my friend shot the thermometer on my arm, and it was literally ice cold. And got back downstairs, and I had this red mark around my arm, and it's kind of weird, But other than that, there was really, I mean, you call that evidence? Maybe not. So, but it was definitely a very creepy place, especially, I mean, even in the day, even just showing up there, we saw that place. It was like, wow, this place is definitely creepy. I mean, talk about living in a horror movie. That was like, we were living in a horror movie. Anyway, so I'll cut it off from here. I got more stories. Let me know in the comments if you want to hear some more. We did go on another location that was pretty scary, and that one there's a picture that was taken. I'll have to contact my friend and see if he's got it. I'm sure he does. I wonder if he'll lend it to me to show you folks. But anyway, I'm Batjack JW, and that's some ghost stories for you about Hawaii. Stay tuned. Let me know if you like it. Let me know in the comments, and I'll share some more with you.